and I was scared out of my mind because I had no clue of where to begin or what to do. And I just remember, okay, he gave me some. It's not like he walked into the office and said that weird and went home and like, had. It wasn't that. He was like, here's a budget. Here's your staff. Like, we're here to support you, but you can make the record that you want to make.
Oh.
And yeah. So immediately we went to work. My brother did his thing and he started, we were always getting submissions. It wasn't like this task of trying to find people.
Okay.
For me, I kind of had this thing where, there's a lot of talented producers and writers that were well known or whatever. I kind of looked at it as there's also the, people who never get an opportunity. And I kind of looked at myself as that, the girl from Iowa that by chance I was blessed enough to be on Star Search and get a huge deal with a major label. That doesn't happen every day.
Mm.
Like someone gave me that opportunity. So we started looking at writers and producers that were just like songs that maybe nobody else would even think about listening to, or you know um so yeah, we started like digging through like boxes of like that were being sent to the label of like people who were just like, hey, I want to submit a song to Tracie Spencer. We would listen to all these songs. Some of them were up and coming producers that had produced other projects already, but no one still knew who they really, really were yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. And it's funny because people have asked me, would you do it differently if you went back to that second album? And I would say absolutely not, because it was a big album for me. And Tender Kisses was a huge song for me, off of that album. So no, I would never do anything differently. I was even in charge of the artwork of the direction I want to go in.
But then this house was charted on the Billboard 100, which was much higher than
Yeah,
Tender Kisses.
yeah.
Um, but it doesn't seem to get as much play as Tender Kisses seems to be your signature song.
I feel like that. It's funny. It's um even when I was on tour with that album performing it, it would always be, yeah, This House and Tender Kisses. Those obviously were two very big songs for me on that album.
And Save Your Love.
Um there's yes, and Save Your Love. Um but I think Tender Kisses just became like that signature song where people just associate Tracie Spencer with Tender Kisses. It was just a signature ballad, classic R&B song. This house, um, when I did a lot of spring breaks, and it was really, really big in the gay community.
Oh, okay.
Like I had because I had so many different remixes of this house that doing spring breaks and all these like clubs um during that time, and had a huge following, um you know even in New York or in Miami, in the gay community. And that was new for me because I grew up in Iowa. So, and so yeah, and it's funny because it opened. I learned a lot. That second album, I learned a lot. I saw a lot, and had so many amazing experiences. But yeah, I felt like different groups of people gravitated towards that record because there were a lot of pop songs on there, a lot of dance songs, and then you had the R&B side. So it was kind of split in the middle. I would do different shows, and it would be a different group of people here, and I'd go somewhere else and do, Tender Kisses, Love Me, those songs, and it'd be a whole different type. And it was wild. It was nice to see though, because I felt like I was, when you do music, I obviously don't do music for the masses, for people. You do what makes you feel good,
Yeah.
and you hope that resonates with the rest of the world. And I could see that with the second album. I felt like that's what I felt my music was doing, because I tried to do music that just made people feel good.
Yeah. Was there no temptation to get an LA and Babyface or Jimmy and Terry Lewis or Teddy Riley, because they always were known for hits like, they did the Down My Heart for the Boys and Janet Jackson's Control. So was there no temptation to say, well, let me just get them to do one or two tracks on my sec debut or my sophomore album and then have others? Or did you look at your budget and think, if we get one of them, it might skew the whole budget, so we need to stay? I don't know.
It's funny. Yeah, I obviously, who wasn't or isn't a huge fan of Babyface or,
Jimmy and Terry.
Jimmy and Terry, like seriously, and Teddy Riley. Obviously, I was a huge fan of all of these producers, and I don't know. I think because it was my sophomore album, and I really wanted to just experiment, because I felt like, what if I never get this opportunity again? Like, I didn't know. It's like you really don't. I'm very much a realist, like when it comes to just life in general. And so I know that the music industry can be a funny place, and like people love you today and then they're just like, whatever, with you tomorrow. And you learn that early on. And so I just felt like, they're throwing money. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm like having fun and see what happens and learn from it. I wanted it to be there was enough money for me to go to a Babyface. There was definitely money. If I would have went to the label and said, I want Babyface to do half my album, and Babyface was like, sure, I'll do it, I think it would have been fine. It would have been fine. They Capitol believed in me. I felt like that much. And I just feel like, because there was so much internal conflict in the label, that if there wasn't that much internal conflict, things would have probably played out differently too. But I went through, I was kind of an artist at a label that just, there was just so much going on. People were losing jobs left and right, people leaving the company, people unhappy at the company, lots of drama in that label. But I would still call and be like, I'm still here, right, guys? Still got a budget, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and that was really sad, because there was because here in the UK we had EMI, and of course then you had the big six back in the day, and then they started merging, and they thought about, they was trying to make money, so it just meant labels were just chopping, and black music departments seem to have taken the brunt of that. Even though the 90s was a booming time for R&B, they just really just took the hit from that.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They understand what those boys and men all
Play it.
these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.